Welcome to another week, another show of Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. Momentarily, you'll see our good buddy Kent McCausland, former Hawkeye sharpshooting great. Kent, of course, folks, at or near the top of the three-point percentage list career Iowa Hawkeye sharpshooters. So always looking forward to talking to Kent. We're going to break down the Iowa Hawkeye women's and men's teams. Kent's going to join us for the first two segments. And then Greg Kajewski in our sports betting segment, my production partner and friend at BettorEdge and BettorEdge.com. Let's start with the women first. And as we record this on Wednesday afternoon, February 26th, Kent, big game tonight at Michigan. By the time we record this, the game will have started, and then the viewers will know the result by the time they view this, either on TV, Kent, or on the online at DaveO'HaraSports.com. Folks, also do yourself a favor and check out Kent and Rob Brooks. Rob, of course, the voice of the Iowa Hawkeye women's. They do a fantastic show called Black and Gold Breakdown. That is on the Connections channel or Mediacom, or check it out online via social media or online. So, Kent, it's always great to see you, and how's everything going with you? Busy, I know. So I gave you a long intro to let you fill in a little bit there.
Oh, it's terrific. With knee deep in a high school basketball season 2. My son's a sophomore at West Waterloo and plays sophomore ball, and then sits for varsity. That means he's practicing for varsity, which means he practices 6 hours a day for both those teams and puts in some time. But I've found that as a parent, your child's going to play on pretty much all the same nights that the Hawkeyes are playing. So I haven't been to as many games as I'd like to get to for Fran and for the women, but family calls, and that's what we're doing. So I got to as many games as I could, but certainly keep a watchful eye on both on the television and just following as much as I can.
Kent, very successful now in the PDCM financial industry world, PDCM insurance. And Kent, of course, when I mentioned former Hawkeye sharpshooting great, he mentioned Waterloo West. Kent, an alum of there. And by the way, member of the IHSAA last year, you and Kirk Speraw, former Hawkeye coach and a former Hawkeye player, you were inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I never want to forget that in your intro as well. So I'm glad you mentioned Waterloo West. But Kent, when we look at the women right now, that game at home against UCLA on Sunday, what a game that was. Hawkeye women right now 18-9, and man, Kent, I can look at those 9 losses and go, shoulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda. This team could easily be top 10, top 15, 4 or 5 losses. What is it? They're 0-4 in one possession losses. So that's an amazing stat. But if you press this team full court, and Kent, unfortunately, Caitlin Clark's not walking through that door. They don't have that one-person press break like they used to have in Caitlin. Last 4 years that get spoiled. But also, Kent, you got somebody to go to down the stretch now. Lucy Olson has elevated to that. And Kent, that tough loss at Ohio State since last I've recorded this show, they had a tough loss, overtime loss we talked about at Ohio State. And then, of course, last Sunday's loss a couple of days ago to UCLA at Carver Hawkeye. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, Kent. The block call could have been a block instead of Lucy with a trip accidentally. 2 free throws at the end after Lucy made 3 free throws, Kent, and 67-65 loss. Talk a little bit about some of the things I put out there for you.
Yeah, I mean, as I look at the women's team early in the year, I mean, turnovers were a big problem. And I think too many goofy turnovers, too many just easy throwing it away, trying to get it inside or moving the ball. And so I feel like a lot of those close losses, those 1-point losses are probably, wins if you get that figured out. But at the same time, I think they were trying to figure out who we're going to play and how we're going to play them. We had some really good young freshmen. We need to get them some time, but at the same moment, all of the players were trying to figure out how do we exist and how do we, make our mark without Caitlin Clark. Caitlin used to do so much. You made a point just to break a press. There's not a lot of women out there that can break a press like she can and have the handle that she has. So that's a rarity in itself. The Hannah Stolkes of the world and Feuerbach and a Falter, these people that have been there, for years playing with Caitlin Clark. Now they got to figure out, okay, how do I get my shot? How do I work within this offense? And so I think it takes time. I equate it back to when I was playing in the 90s, Andre Woolridge, he did everything for us. And we played off of Andre. And when we needed a bucket, Andre would either get a bucket or an assist, and he would just kind of orchestrate because he was that good. The next year after that, we're all back, but Dean Oliver is our point guard as a freshman. Very different teams, and he's kind of handed the keys to this Rolls Royce of how we play and how we do everything. And he had to learn everybody, and then we had to learn because it was like, well, Andre's not here to do all this for us, so Now we have to adjust and do some things. So I think there was an adjustment period. I think we're seeing here towards the end of the year, the women are playing extremely well. McCabe's knocking down shots. You got, a Falters going to the hole and Fearbox knocking down shots. And Hannah Stolke knows how she fits in. And now Lucy Olson as kind of the leader. It's not easy to come in to a program and just be like, well, I'm running the show and I'm the leader. No, she wants to fit in. She wants to work within the team scheme. And you look at, she's got a smile on her face all the time. So she is trying to fit in with these women and make it happen with a new coach as well. So there's a lot of things that are happening. And you think, oh, all these girls are just, oh, let's go make it happen again. It's not how it works. It takes some time. And I think we're seeing that now they're starting to play really well. And I fear for them. I want them to keep playing well, get some wins, get a win at Michigan, and then play well in the Big Ten tournament, because I really want them to get off that 8-9, 7-10 line, into the NCAA tournament, because that just spells you're going to play a really good team in that second round. And they don't deserve that. They're better than that. I think they should be in that, 4, 5, 6 would be fine. Just work your way and maybe have a chance to make a run.
Bill Parcells said something I've said this week after week. Yeah, I know you're smiling because you know the line. Legendary NFL coach Bill Parcells. You are what your record says you are. But I have a hard time believing that. I agree with you with this Hawkeye team. They're better than this, and I hope they can put it together. Because as we talked about, 18-9 overall going into this Michigan game, 8-8 in the Big Ten. I don't want them to be a 8, 9, 10 team in the Big Ten tourney, Kent, let alone in the national tourney where they might be an 8, 9, 10 seed. And it looks like their fate is kind of set in both. But I would not want to play this team in the postseason. I'm telling you this, in the Big Ten tourney or the NCAA tourney, this team can get hot, Kent. I think that's what we're all hoping for.
Yeah, I think so. And I think this is a very likable team. I mean, you look at Carver Hawkeye, this place is on fire, right? And it's
Kent, I got to jump in. I've said this all year long. If wins and losses were based on likability, this team would be undefeated, hands down. I mean, to your point, exactly.
Well, I mean, I have never seen someone smile so much as Lucy Olson on a basketball court. I don't have that in me. I'm always like very stone faced and just trying to concentrate. But she plays the game with a lot of joy, which there are some days when I wish I had that in me to do that. So really impressed by this group. And their resiliency. I mean, O'Grady's had a terrific year after, really kind of being beat up last year, if you want to say that from a media or player or spectator perspective, wishing that she was playing better. Well, I mean, there are nights when she's going 10 for 10 from the field and is unstoppable down there. So, this is a very nice team, very likable team. And the fans react when you see this place is full. Night after night, sold out. There's a couple things going on. One, it's affordable. Two, it's a really good product, and they're easy to root for. You want these girls to play very well, and so I think that's a very big key of what's going on. Caitlin Clark's not coming through the door, but now you've gotten to know these people, and they're just easy to root for, and so you see that.
And recruiting's on the upswing and going to continue to be that, which happens in these kind of programs, as you know, Kent. Yeah, the raucous sellout crowds game after game after game for these Hawkeye women. And they put it all together. Again, we record this on Wednesday afternoon, February 26th, but they close out the season at home against Wisconsin. For Kent McCausland, I'm Dave O'Hara. We'll be back with more Hawkeye in just a few moments.
Hawkeyed is brought to you by BettorEdge, your ultimate social betting marketplace. With no VIG, you're bound to win more on every bet on BettorEdge. Founded by Hawkeye alum James Siles and proud Iowan Greg Kajewski, BettorEdge delivers an unmatched betting experience. Plus, what's not to love when they're committed to supporting charities and children's hospitals near you? Join the action now. Sign up at bettoredge.com/Hawkeyed and get $10 to start winning more today. BettorEdge, where your social betting means your bets go further and you win more.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. Momentarily, you'll see our buddy Kent McCausland joining us again. Kent was kind enough to join us for two segments in this show. First segment, we talked Hawkeye women's basketball. Now we're going to talk Hawkeye men's basketball. Talk about making the Big Ten tourney and what's going on with this team, Kent, please.
Yeah, no, I think even at this time of year, even if you're not playing for the number one seed, you're still playing for a lot. I think that's kind of interesting. You got Peyton Sanford as a senior. No one wants to lose games, towards the end of their senior year. It doesn't matter, how great a team you are, how many injuries you got, how many guys are playing. There's still that competitive edge for all these guys to want to make the Big Ten tournament, and then you get into the Big Ten tournament and let's go cause some trouble. Let's go beat some people and send them home and ruin some vacation plans. I mean, that's the fun of this time of year, is these upsets do happen. And so I think they do have a little bit of that destiny in their hands. Okay, let's go win at Northwestern. Let's get it at home. Let's snag a win against Michigan State, which they can do when they get hot, right? And they knock down shots. So, it's still fun. It's still exciting. It's not exactly what we thought for this team. I think at the beginning of the year, I think we all thought, they're going to fight for an NCAA tournament bid. And that might be very aggressive at this point, but doesn't mean these kids don't compete and play. And at Illinois, I think they really need Drew Thelwell to get healthy. I think he's a really good player. I think he is a senior. Again, this is his last go around. He's really brought that emotional energy to Carver Hawkeye and to the team when they need him. And he's just not healthy. His ankle is just bad. And so you got to get healthy. It can't all just be Josh Dix and Peyton Sanford the entire game. Riley Mulvey and Evan Braun's bringing some energy, which they need to do. And they play pretty freely because Owen Freeman's not going to be on the floor. So, there's some positives here to watch and some interesting storylines. But they got to get healthy and then go out there and compete. And you look at Peyton's face says, we're here to win. We're here to find a way. And so I like that. But at the same time, there's some limitations there as well. I mean, Illinois, that could be a gettable game. Illinois is not playing great. They were playing really well early in the year, but it's tough. It's on the road. Don't get me wrong, but could have been an opportunity to steal one. But hey, now it's time to focus on trying to get to the end of the Big Ten tournament and then go play spoiler.
And Kent, this. You were a starter most of your career, but Lisa Bluter said this very true and accurately, whether it's men's or women's basketball, the toughest position on a basketball team is the 6th, 7th, and 8th player, the first few coming in off the bench, because you don't know when or how much you're going to play.
It's true. And I look at this team too, you look at the NBA, you got to have a guy that can close games in the last several minutes. And I think this team, while Josh Dix, in my opinion, is probably the most talented basketball player, can score at all three levels. He can hit the three, he can intermediate game, and he can get to the rim, right? He can do just about everything. And Peyton Sanford is very good too. But I just feel like Josh Dix is that guy that they look to get his own shot. But also you don't have Freeman. And so you just don't have that guy at least to dump it into. He can either get fouled, or he can kick it out, or he can make the right play, or he can get a bucket. He can offensive rebound. He can get fouled off of that. It helps at the end of the game to have that type of player. And so the first 35 minutes is different than the last 5 minutes. It always is. It's not just a continuation. You have to have certain, talents and level of play. And for Iowa, I think it's running their stuff. And if they make shots, they're pretty tough. But if they run their stuff and they don't, then I think it gets difficult because rebounding and defense is not the calling card for this team. And so you got to make shots and you got to run your stuff. And, Price Sanford has done, a nice job of hitting some big buckets at times. But that last several minutes, I think it's really interesting to watch and to see how Iowa handles that against teams that know how to win in the last 3 to 5 minutes. And Michigan State's going to be one of those teams. You're right. Northwestern's going to throw the kitchen sink. They're at home. Like, don't think you're walking in there and just going to beat Northwestern. That's just not how competition is. It's not, you name it. You can call it the Big Ten, but any conference, you're not just rolling in and just beating people. So they're going to have to bring their best game and get after it. And I feel like they have a good chance of winning that game. And you never know, though. We've seen, Peyton Sanford go 7 for 8 from 3, or he can go 1 for 11 from 3. So that's you almost like to level that out just a little bit, but that's what this season is. So I think you roll out and you go get after it and you compete, and I think that's all the staff can really ask is, are you going to get out there and compete? And I think they do that. Just don't always have the horses.
I don't want to put the books away yet on this season because there's still some very meaningful games to play yet, but the future could be very bright at Iowa. You just got to play through the tough spots, as you said earlier, and you've experienced this yourself at Iowa.
There's no question. I mean, every team is different. Every year is different. And with the portal and NIL, it's also like year to year, you could have very different teams. We look at Indiana. Indiana was supposed to have all these great players and bring in all this talent and be in the top 3 or 4 in the Big Ten. Well, they laid an egg because they can't make a team out of it and a culture out of it. So you just don't know how it's going to work. And I think what Fran does do well is assess talent and bring in talent. Now, we've had some injuries and all kinds of different things have occurred, but he still assesses talent very well within the portal. Who knows what kind of team we have next year? You could have a better team next year than we had last year, and we could have people stay and leave, and who knows? I mean, it's very up in the air. So you kind of just say to yourself, you know what? Let's worry about what we can worry about today. Let's go out and compete and be as good as we can be right now, and then worry about tomorrow. And that's really the only attitude you can have.
Really glad you said that with the portal and NIL and everything else. Drew Thelwell was on no one's radar last year here at Iowa, and he comes in and does what he does. What might have been if he could have stayed healthy, to your earlier point, Ken. And I'll say this to you. I'm really glad you brought this up. Player development. Matt Gatens and I have talked about it on this show. Former Hawkeye basketball playing great, now Hawkeye assistant coach. To your point, Fran assesses talent and develops talent. Maybe not always as a team coalescing, but boy, you look at the recent last 5 years, 10 years even of his 15 years here, that player, accruing players and developing them, I think you really hit upon something, Ken.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Drew Thelwell, even in the preseason, no one thought that this guy's bringing a whole lot. It was amazing. Even, you're just talking around, they're just like, well, he's okay or whatever. The fact is, he was a gamer and he loved playing underneath the lights. He didn't necessarily love practice maybe at that time, and now you look at him, he's like the energy leader. And those guys are out there, to go and get. So again, can you assess talent and can you bring in talent and put it together? I think that's the important piece too. You got to put it together. Unselfish guys, right? Guys that want to, make the right play instead of worrying about, oh, how do I, improve my stock, or how do I do this? How do I do that? There's a lot of things that go into it. Not an easy gig. This in this new world of NIL. So fun to watch. Again, control the controllables, as we say, a lot of times in business, but you do it here too. You really just worry about today. Let's go compete with who we got, and then we'll worry about tomorrow.
Love what you said on point. Always great to talk to you, Kenton. We're going to catch up with you in a couple of weeks, let the season play out. We'll talk some NCAA men's and women's basketball at large during the tourney. I want to thank you for joining me during the season, but we'll get a postseason wrap up from you in a couple of weeks. And Kent McCausland, former Hawkeye sharpshooting great. Kent, it's always great to see you. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
You bet. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Truly our pleasure. For Kent McCausland, I'm Dave O'Hara. We'll be back to close out the show. I will be with Greg Kajewski with BettorEdge at BettorEdge and BettorEdge.com, and my production partner. Back with more Hawkeye in just a few moments.
You don't have a lot of time to make decisions today if you want to be out front with the newest products. This is Joe Mershman from Mershman Seeds. Did you know that we're one of the first 2 companies to offer Enlist E3 soybeans in the United States? And because of that, you benefit from it. Here's Ben Pieper to tell you more.
With Enlist E3 soybeans, we have a front row seat to the highest yielding germplasm that's on the market. That allows us to focus on the things that matter to you, making sure you get what you ordered delivered on time to ensure the highest yielding soybeans for your farm.
Contact your local Mershman Seeds dealer today. They care and are ready to help you.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. Momentarily, you'll see my buddy Greg Kajewski, my production partner, and fantastic social media or social betting marketplace at BettorEdge and BettorEdge.com. James Siles, his partner, and my other production partner at BettorEdge, joins us occasionally. Wanted to bring Greg back on. First and foremost, as always, Greg, thanks for joining us. Great to see you. Let's talk a little bit about social betting marketplace. Talk about BettorEdge, re-educate some of the viewers that either need to be re-educated, or for some, it's an initial education. At BettorEdge via social media, BettorEdge.com. Let's talk about it, please, Greg.
Of course. Thanks, Dave, and appreciate you having us back. Always a great time to be on Hawkeyed, and we're excited about social betting. This time of year between Super Bowl and March Madness is an amazing time of year. So BettorEdge, as you know, is social betting exchange. Think of it as you want to throw a bet out to a buddy. That buddy could be across the bar, that buddy could be across town, or that buddy could be across the United States. Our platform makes that seamless, easy, as well as we bring in cool promos and cool different opportunities like BettorEdge for Good to really drive it to the next level.
Yeah, and it's available in almost all 50 states. So that's the great thing at BettorEdge and BettorEdge.com. So, Greg, when we talk about no house, no vig, no tax, or no juice is a common day parlance in the betting world. So this leads me to a better edge for good. And I love this because you and I have talked about charitable endeavors, as has James and I in the past. And so without having to pay that 10%, 11%, depending where you go, what house, what casino, what vig, juice, you get to keep all the winnings, but now you have an opportunity to have your bettors or winners put it towards good.
Yeah. So when James and I started the company, we really wanted to make sure that we left a good, brand, a good kind of cause. And so we started really giving back to great causes. And we started with Chad Greenway. Both being Iowa fans in the 2000s, it was a really cool opportunity to work with Chad and his Lead the Way Foundation, which gives back to the Children's Hospital here in Minnesota, as well as the Children's Hospital in Iowa City. So we donated $10,000 there. That's progressed. We've added, new charities, new causes. But what's really been new and most recent is we launched the Better Edge for Good campaign, which is overarching, talking about all those good things and creating more ways for us to be able to give back to good causes in our community. So the reception thus far has been phenomenal. Everyone loves it and excited to really kind of see where that goes.
You know what I love too, Greg, is with TGL, Tomorrow's Golf League, and some people think it's Tigers Golf League. No, he's one of the principals along with Rory McIlroy, but TGL officially stands for Tomorrow's Golf League, and it's the indoor league. And ESPN has had a nice run of it lately on Mondays and Tuesday nights, primarily Tuesday nights. But what I love about this is you've had some pretty sizable winners. The guys are betting, or bettors are betting back and forth, men or women, and betting on TGL. So something that a lot of either casinos or sports books or apps don't take. You guys are open for darn near anything. If it's ball and jacks on the corner and people are tiddlywinks, whatever it is, if somebody wants to bet with you on it and you have it up on your platform, let's go to town. And that's besides the conference tournaments that are coming up, and of course March Madness, the national wrestling tournaments for Hawkeye men, Hawkeye women. All types of things are in play to be wagered on. NHL, NBA. Heck, we got MLB coming up. You can do futures on, Cy Young Award winners, MVPs in Major League Baseball. All kinds of great stuff like that. But let's talk a little bit about that. The flexibility that you guys offer at Better Edge, the sports betting flexibility, is the most fascinating thing to me, Greg.
Yeah, I mean, we love innovation. Anytime there's an opportunity to give you something fun to bet on, we'll, create that, take feedback from our community and bring it into the platform. So TGL was in high demand, and we've been able to build a lot of interest and excitement around that, which I actually enjoy watching it on Tuesdays. I typically wake up Tuesday morning and forget about Monday night's league that they have. But once I watch it on Tuesdays, it's a good time. And to be able to put a, $5 bet, $100 bet here or there on it is makes it that much more fun for our community, and it's a cool way to kind of get engaged in the this time of year as well.
It adds a level of interest, as some of my friends always say. Do you have a level of interest in this game? Code for, do you have a bet on this game? And I agree with you. I have it on background noise, and then I end up getting drawn in and watching it. On Monday, that happened to me, and Tuesday, I was like, oh, I forgot it was on Monday night, and I was watching a basketball game leading into it, so I just had it on as background noise. And like you said, you get to see some of the personalities of the golfers too that you don't get to see on the course. And it's kind of that nice mix of social, almost like social betting marketplace. It's now like social golf, and it's really kind of cool to see. But whatever it's on, throw a tent over it and call it a game. You guys will take a wager on it. But let's talk about the excitement, obviously, for March Madness. That's got to be one of your biggest and best times besides the Super Bowl. Now we've got March Madness, college basketball Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, March Madness, it always blows us away. That Thursday, Friday is awesome, and it just keeps getting better and better. But before that, conference tournament games, tons of excitement comes into NCAA through Big 10, Big 12, Missouri Valley, all of those. So not only do we have betting that you can come out and get the best price on with no VIG, but we'll also be offering brackets. So you can host your own bracket pool. You don't have to use CBS or ESPN or Yahoo. You can come use Better Edge. We'll manage all leaderboards for you, payouts, pay-ins, all that type of stuff. So you don't have that side Venmo action happening. So really seamless, really cool. We had a lot of success with it last year with some really good bars, some great brands as well that should be back. So excited to really kind of showcase and witness what that's going to become, because it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and grows. So that'll lead nicely really into March Madness and create a huge opportunity for sports bettors and sports fans as college basketball is a great time of year.
Amen to that. From your lips to God's ears, no doubt. Greg, it's always great to talk to you and or James, today you. And I love working with you guys on this Hawkeyed show, but also other things we've got upcoming. So at BettorEdge and BettorEdge.com, but also Better Edge for Good, which Greg and I talked about in the beginning part of this segment. Check it all out at BettorEdge via social media, BettorEdge.com. He's Greg Kajewski, my production partner, my friend, and also business partner with James Siles at BettorEdge. So Greg, it's always great to talk to you. Thanks for everything as always, and looking forward to catching up with you very soon, my friend.
Thanks, Dave.
So for Ken McCausland, my production partner, Greg Kajewski at BettorEdge and BettorEdge.com, and thanks him for sitting in today on the show. That's all from us at Hawkeyed. I'm Dave O'Hara. Thanks to all of you.